January 24, 2015. Nearly 400 elite commandos from the Philippine National Police Special Action Force quietly move into the marshlands of Maguindanao. Their mission is classified. Their target, two of the world's most wanted terrorists. The Special Action Force, or SAF, is no ordinary police unit. Its members undergo the harshest training: raids, hostage rescue, counter-terrorism. They've been tested in coup attempts of the 1980s and in the Zamboanga siege of 2013. By 2015, they were regarded as the country's most capable strike force. Intelligence reports, allegedly shared by the United States, pointed to the marshes of Mamasapano. Two men were believed to be hiding there: Abdul Basit Usman, a notorious bomb maker, and Zulkifli bin Hir, known as Marwan, a Malaysian extremist on the FBI's most wanted list. Marwan had already escaped 9 previous operations. This time, officials believed the outcome would be different. With this confidence in mind, the SAF commandos ready themselves as they draw closer to the target. A mission destined to be etched in the memory of the Filipino people. A mission called Oplan Exodus. Divided as special action companies, the SAF commandos will follow a planned route and will position at assigned locations on the map the 84th SAC or Seaborne, which is composed of 41 commandos. Is the team assigned to capture Marwan and Usman? They will be the first one to advance and will control the movement of other SACs just behind Seaborne. The 55th SAC, composed of 36 commandos, will become the blocking force, which will serve as the primary support and security for Seaborne, while the remaining SACs, which are composed of more than 300 SAF commandos, will serve as support groups, securing the exits of both SACs. Meanwhile, the 43rd SAC will position along the drop-off point, securing both ends of the highway. The plan was estimated to be done at a specific time, however, this was unlikely. The terrain leading to the target posed a formidable challenge for the commandos. Vast cornfields stretched across the marshlands, cut through by deep rivers that slowed their advance. To make matters worse, this was unfamiliar territory. Scattered throughout the marshes were multiple armed groups, the most prominent being the BIFF and the MILF. The Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, or BIFF, is a militant organization in Mindanao pushing for an independent Islamic state for the Muslim minority, while the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF, also rooted in Mindanao, seeks to break away from the central government to establish an autonomous region for the Moro people. At the time, the MILF was engaged in ongoing peace talks with the government, which prohibited both sides from carrying out offensive actions, a fragile ceasefire. But because this mission was highly classified, the MILF was never informed of the operation. 2300, January 24, Oplan Exodus commenced. The 41 commandos of Seaborne, led by Superintendent Raymond Trey in advances, The remaining SAC units held their position, waiting for the right time to move, their advance tied to the progress of Seaborne. But with the unfamiliar terrain and the river's strong current, Seaborne made slight adjustments to the planned route. This change, however, delayed the departure of the 55th SAC and the supporting groups. Marwan's hut was rigged with improvised traps. Meanwhile, hidden from view, Abdul Basit Usman managed to slip away. The gunfire, however, had already awakened armed groups across the area. Seaborne had accomplished its primary mission, neutralizing one of the world's most dangerous terrorists. Without delay, they secured a DNA sample and photographed the body for confirmation. A SAF commando then sent a coded text to headquarters. Mike 1, bingo. The message signaled that the target had been eliminated. Triumph was felt among the commandos outside as they've heard the word bingo. But that triumph won't last. As Seaborne attempts to unite with the 55th SAC for the exit, they are already surrounded. Meanwhile, the 55th SAC, delayed for several hours, pushes forward in an attempt to reach their designated waypoint. Moving cautiously through the dense cornfields of Barangay Tucanalipao, they heard men shouting around the area. Immediately, they formed a defensive perimeter. Across the river, they saw MILF members gathering near the bridge. The 55th SAC waited, hidden only by the cornfields and the darkness. But the night wouldn't protect them for long. As dawn broke, the 77 commandos of the 55th SAC and Seaborne found themselves surrounded by more than 1,000 combined fighters from the MILF, BIFF, and other private armed groups. At Seaborne's position, it became a fight for survival. Outnumbered and uncertain of how many enemies were firing upon them, they attempted to retreat toward the river, taking an alternate route to evade pursuit. But once again, they were surrounded. During this time, the SAF commandos of the 55th SAC and Seaborne continuously called for reinforcements. This led the remaining special action companies to advance, but then eventually retreated as they were met with gunfire. At the same time, reports of the situation reached SAF Director Getulio Napeñas Jr., the commander overseeing the operation. Around 6 a.m., Napeñas sent a message to the Army's 6th Infantry Division commander, informing him about the ongoing mission. However, according to the division commander, the message did not indicate any request for reinforcements. Fortunately, Major General Pangilinan, the division commander, deployed a reinforcement team after learning from other sources about the firefight already taking place. He also ordered the brigade general of the AFP to inform the MILF of the situation, a group that was, at that time, engaged in peace talks with the government. At about 8:30 a.m., the Army arrived. According to the Army, they saw the remaining SAF commandos just sitting on the highway. The Army then asked for coordinates from 2 SAF commanders to locate the 55th SAC in Seaborne. Unfortunately, they don't know. After figuring out the location, the Army advances, but the remaining SAF members reportedly refused to go with them. According to a report, there was no command telling the SAF what to do. Around 9 a.m., Seaborne radioed the Army. They were trapped on a hill in Barangay Tucanalipao, surrounded by MILF fighters. However, AFP Chief of Staff General Katapang ordered his men not to engage the MILF, so as not to jeopardize the ongoing peace process. The Army then proceeded with the extraction of the SAF units, but along the way, they too came under heavy fire, forcing them to retaliate. Quick pause. Learning something new? Please like and subscribe. It genuinely helps me a lot. Thanks. The firefight raged on for several hours, until the Army decided to deploy white phosphorus at about 5:30 p.m. The white phosphorus is used for cover and as markers for the artillery team to calculate their location, minimizing the risk of a friendly fire. When the armed groups saw the white phosphorus lighting up the sky, the gunfire slowly faded. By 6 p.m., the firefight had stopped. The MILF later declared that their fighters had pulled out of the area. Shortly after, the search for the 77 commandos began. The lone survivor of the 55th SAC, police officer Christopher Leyland, was found wounded and exhausted along the highway. But the story runs deeper than it seemed. Investigations conducted after the incident uncovered troubling details about those behind the operation. It was revealed that then-President and Commander-in-Chief Benigno Aquino III had allowed his close friend, former PNP chief Alan Purisima, to take part, and allegedly gave him control over the mission. However, the said PNP chief was suspended at that time, currently being investigated for an alleged graft case. Even so, Aquino entrusted him the operation, along with the SAF director, Getulio Nepeñas Jr. Moreover, it was reported that Deputy Director General Leonardo Espina was supposed to be the one who had the authority to oversee the entire operation. But due to an unknown reason, he was excluded and was only informed on the morning of January 25th. With more revelations coming to light, the officials behind the operation fell into a blame game, each pointing fingers at one another. Questions also arose regarding the MILF's involvement and why Marwan was found near, if not within, their territory. During the Senate probe, Senate Majority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano pressed the MILF on their alleged role in providing refuge to the terrorists. The MILF, however, denied all accusations, insisting that Marwan had been hiding within BIFF-controlled territory. This claim was later supported by Chief Peace Advisor Teresita Deles, who stated that the MILF had long severed its ties with the terrorist groups. In a different investigation, autopsy reports done by the PNP revealed that most members received a fatal shot to the head. This can be done by the snipers. However, this also suggests that some were shot up close. This theory was confirmed when a video circulated through social media showed a brutal killing of one SAF commando up close. Aside from the government's inquiry, the MILF also conducted its own investigation. According to their findings, the MILF lost 17 of its members, while 3 civilians were killed. Regarding Oplan Exodus, the MILF stated that they had no prior knowledge of the operation. They explained that despite the existing ceasefire agreement prohibiting aggressive actions from both sides, their fighters failed to identify the approaching SAF commandos, and claimed that the commandos had fired first. These claims ignited a nationwide debate. Was it a case of misencounter or a deliberate massacre? The Senate, which condemned the brutal manner in which the SAF members were killed, officially labeled the incident a massacre. However, the Commission on Human Rights chairperson disagreed, stating that categorizing the incident as a massacre is excessive. The tragic events of January 25th, 2015, cannot and will not be forgotten by the Filipino people. On that day, families lost a father, a brother, a son, and a hero. Questions and outrage remain. Who was at fault? Who should be held accountable? Has justice truly been served? Yet, amid the grief and controversy, one truth endures. The courage and sacrifice of the fallen 44 will forever be remembered. The story of the fallen 44 reminds us that bravery carries a cost, and peace demands sacrifice. Their legacy lives on, not only in the hearts of those they left behind, but in the nation they swore to protect. Remember the fallen. Learn from the past. This is Balance of Power. uncovering the stories behind conflict, courage, and consequence. Thanks for watching.